Hey guys, welcome back to We Gotta Talk. We are on video today because not only is today's guest really smart with some really valuable information to share, but she's also really beautiful. So I was like, you know what? We're going to put her on video. I'm interviewing Barbara von Schmeling. She's the founder of the Feminine Freedom, which is a movement that helps women reclaim all of the beautiful energies that comprise us. And if you're a woman, you know we exist in different roles really throughout the course of any given day. Maybe you're a mother, maybe you're a wife, maybe you're working outside of the home or starting something on your own in your own space. And sometimes the energies that drive all of those roles are kind of conflicting. And you got to snap back from like boss person to like cutesy girlfriend or what. And you're like, this is too much work. So Barbara is not only the founder of Feminine Freedom, she also is a 20-time martial arts world champion. And she is the co-owner of Victory Martial Arts, which are nationwide, I believe, martial arts schools for people of all ages. So Barbara, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I should mention you're my friend too.
Yes.
So we were, when I arranged this is actually the second time you've been
Yeah.
on the podcast,
Yeah.
but we've known each other for, oh God, it's probably 5 or 6 years maybe now.
Well, we actually met in your bachelorette party
Wait, where?
through Rachel.
Oh my gosh, that's right. I keep forgetting that. Yes.
And then we reconnected about 6 years
Yes.
ago. Yes.
Yeah. I just really, you're just such a fun person. And when I think about interesting podcast guests or people that have good information to share, I really feel like you just sort of encapsulate a lot of, I don't know, admirable qualities, I guess.
Thank you.
I know you personally. You embody both the masculine and feminine energy that I know you work with your clients on tapping into in
Mhm.
different ways. I'm probably oversimplifying that. But tell me first what the Feminine Freedom movement is about, just so people have a baseline understanding of what exactly it is you do with your clients.
Yeah, one thing that I've noticed, and that started with me as well, that most of us women, we just get pretty much tired and exhausted from doing things all the time. We are dealing with the kids, and many of us, we have a career and then husbands, and then you're still a daughter, and you're a sister and you're a friend. So there are all these roles that we're playing in life, and it gets to a point that we're doing so much that we start to feel depleted
Yeah.
because we're not giving to ourselves what we're giving to others. And especially for business women, I believe feminine freedom really helps women reclaiming all the parts of themselves and that joy and that authenticity that will give them not just the success that they're looking for with their business or whatever endeavor and adventure they are in their lives, but also the feeling of fulfillment and happiness that comes when we are true to ourselves.
Yeah, I call it code switching. Sometimes depending on who you're around, or in women's cases, who we're taking care of at that moment, you really have to, you put on these different hats throughout the day and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, now I gotta, the kids are asleep. Now I can be this, and the kids have to get up and moving, and now I have to put on this hat. How do you describe what I call the code switch? Going between all of these various roles that we have to play, which is kind of a necessary part of being a woman. It's fine,
100%, yes.
but
And one of the reasons that happens, I believe, is because we are emotionally connected to ourselves. We are overly connected to our emotions. That's why for men, many times we are, oh my gosh, overly emotional.
right, we're too
'Cause
much. Yeah.
Yes, because we have such a quick access to all those emotions. And emotion is just energy in motion. It's when those energies show up in your body, now they're moving through your body and then you express them. I have an 11-year-old daughter that you know, and she can be super happy and suddenly something happens and she's crying, then she's laughing the minute after, because we have that ability to shift so quickly and have those emotions moving through our bodies so quickly that give us that, I would say it's a gift,
Yeah.
right? To be able to express and feel in such a deep way that I would say men don't really have that ability. And that just comes from process of evolution if we talk about men and women. But masculine energy and feminine energy is not just, okay, men have masculine energy and
Because
women
they're
have
guys.
masculine.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It's how we live too.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
exhausting though. I mean, I really like that we can embody all of that. And I know so many women that are just, they're so different if you look at them on paper. Some are full-time working outside of the home, sometime are full-time at home, but they also have, so we're hard to categorize. But do you also find it difficult? And what, I guess I should ask maybe, what about the work you've done makes it easy for you to kind of glide through those changes a little
100%.
easier?
Yes, 100%. Because I had to do that for myself
Right.
first. And at the time, My daughter was little. She was about 3 years old, and I was working and still taking care of her. And again, having all those roles. So I started feeling, okay, it has to, there has to be more to this.
Right.
And I noticed, and I found, like, again, like I said, within myself, that ability to tap into deep parts of my soul and my being that I wasn't aware it existed before I actually encountered this work and started doing it for myself.
So what did you find in yourself when you started doing that work?
That I don't need to do it all the time. I don't need to do everything all the time. That
Mm.
there's more being to myself than
Mhm.
doing, if that makes sense.
Is being more of a feminine
Oh, 100%.
quality
Yes.
then? Yeah,
Because the
okay.
masculine energy
Is
is
the doing.
action driven. It's about doing it. It's about making it happen. It's about having a purpose, a goal, focus, which is
Okay.
incredible. And usually, as women, we bring a lot of that into our businesses, into
Right.
our household when we're running our household, because we need to keep things tight and we need to
Mhm.
keep the
It's
kids
like
in
a
line.
business.
It
Yeah,
is.
sure.
It is a business. Yes. However, the feminine energy is bringing more enjoyment and more love and more nurturing and more caring and being more present in the moment, and also focus in the future
Mhm.
and the actions that we need to take. So I usually say that the feminine energy that I call the goddess energy
Mhm.
is the one that brings that enjoyment to our lives.
Was there something specific that happened that made you want to learn how to tap more into that being state? Or was it just the general chaos of raising a young child that kind of pushed you into the exhaustion of thinking, okay, I need to like change something? What was something?
Actually, we started attending Tony Robbins seminars, and
Okay.
that was the first time I heard of the concept.
Right.
It
The
was
concept of what? Like the
masculine energy,
right.
feminine
Okay.
energy,
Mhm.
and these are the traits, and this is why many times in relationships that are just connections and depolarizations, because people show up with the same energy. So it's almost like the two sides of a magnet now are the
Right.
same side, and
Right.
now instead of attracting your partner, now you are repelling your partner.
It's
So
crazy
yes.
too. Like, okay, we're gonna get into so much. I
I
went
know,
to
it's a lot.
It's a lot. I went to one day of your in-town seminars because
Mhm.
there were some scheduling conflicts. It was a multiple day
Yes, it was a
event.
4-day. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 days that you
Actually
held.
5, because we added a day for couples too. So
Okay,
we had
yeah,
5
yeah.
days.
Okay, so it was in Orlando, which is where we're based, and I
Mhm.
want to get into that. But before we talk about like the transformations that I know you've seen happen kind of in real life, run us through the structure of the warrior goddess. Because when we sat down the day that I was there, you ran through a list of 7 archetypes
Mhm.
that kind of are in all of us as women, starting as early as a young girl, kind of through all of the evolutions that we embody. So, can
Mhm.
you just list those 7? And I don't want to spend a ton of time like
Yeah.
going into each one, but we'll walk through each one and tell them just a little bit of what each archetype is.
What the reason I chose to explore those archetypes is
Mhm.
because I believe, like I said, all those energies are in our bodies. How do we harness that? How do we bring them forward? How do we, on purpose, bring them more into our lives? And the first one that we played with was the lass,
Mhm.
which is that young girl
Young
energy.
girl, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that fun, playful, innocent, beautiful energy that you have daughters yourself. I
Mhm.
have my daughter. We see that every single day in them.
And that we all embodied at one
Oh,
point.
we have
That
to.
innocence, that freedom.
And
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. And one of the ladies even brought up that day, she said, I found that is so attractive
Mhm.
for men to be around that energy. Yeah, because she's light and she's fun. She brings that playfulness to herself and to others. So that is the last energy that I call. And then you go into the lover archetype, which
Mhm.
is about love. That day, it was so beautiful because we talked a lot about self-love
Mhm.
and how when we love ourselves, that can ripple to, in my case, I would say my relationship will be the next, because then it will ripple to the children, because I believe that when children grow in a loving environment,
Mhm.
they learn what love is and they are able to extend that to their lives as well. And that was my experience being a daughter with my parents being super cute in love, and also my grandparents. So that's why I always put us ourselves in the middle,
Mhm.
and then your partner, and then your children, and then you go to your immediate family and your
Mhm.
friends, your community, and then we went to even people that we don't know.
Right, it
Right?
like rippled
That
out.
ripples down. Yes.
So that was lover.
Yes. Also, we had in this particular workshop that you went, we had 4 young girls. They were
Mhm.
under 13 years old. And that was the first time that I opened to such a young group, because the mothers were asking for it.
Mhm.
Because one thing that we noticed is that all these gifts that we have, if we can tap into them when we are young enough,
Mhm.
now life would be much easier. I've had 60-year-old women going like, oh my gosh, if I knew this when I was in my 20s or my 30s.
Right.
So we went to the next level, and
Right.
we
Telling these
allowed,
girls from a young age, like, hey,
yeah,
these are all the things you can embody or that you will be at some point, and to kind of embrace it
yeah,
all.
just unleash their
Right.
potential in that
Right.
moment, because before they had all those layers of conditioning,
Sure. Well, and
just unleashing that
I'm
in them.
sure there are people too, before we move on to the next archetype, who maybe didn't get to experience their childhood in a way that
Yeah.
gave them freedom or comfort, or their their freedom and their frivolity was kind of stifled, like follow rules and you need to. And so I feel like I felt impulses during that workshop of people's like inner child kind of
Yeah.
coming out and
Mhm.
like feeling that freedom and like
Mhm.
feeling that like it's okay to be fully who you are.
Mhm.
Maybe the parents didn't give them permission to do.
Yeah, and we had a few conversations that day, and even the days after, that were deep into, okay, when I was young and I would
Yeah.
smile a lot, my dad would tell me not to smile to strangers. So now little girls start to be a little bit more restricted on their own expression.
Right.
But in their father's mind is just protection.
Right.
So it's just really coming to terms into, okay, that's what they knew and they had the best intention.
Right.
But sometimes it just,
It stifles them.
yes,
Right.
it happens. And it's okay. But now you can consciously reclaim that part of
Right.
yourself that was shut down unintentionally,
Right. Right.
right?
So we
With
have
the
the
best intention, I would say.
sure, yeah, and parents, I think ultimate goal is safety and protection,
100%.
and I
Yeah.
think sometimes that kind of loses its way.
Hmm.
So the lover, what's the third
Yeah.
archetype?
And going even back to the lover a little, when we moved the girls, of course, to a different room, and
Right.
we explored a little bit
For the
more.
romantic side of
Yes,
it.
the
Yeah.
romantic, the sexual energy, I would say, and that erotic energy, even, because that is part of our lives. And it's
Right.
a primal instinct for us as humans to procreate. That's
Right.
really part of our lives. You eat, if you go on primal, right? You eat, you sleep, you mate,
You have kids.
you
Yeah.
have kids, you procreate. That's
Right.
part of being human, part of being animal. So we couldn't ignore that as well. We just didn't want to talk about that in front of the girls.
Right.
So we had them to,
Go
off
to
to the
another
side,
room.
doing a different
Mhm.
activity. And then
Tell
we
me about
explored
some
that a little.
yeah, let's talk about that part in particular. It involved movement. I mean,
Mhm.
it's really reconnecting in a way that I think people feel like might be taboo or
Mhm.
might be like they're not encouraged. Women are often not encouraged
Right.
to dive into that. And if they are, it's with their partner behind closed doors for the designated amount of time that you can get
Mhm.
away, which is like not a lot. So there's a lot of value in that exercise. And people are
Mhm.
like, oh, it feels weird or whatever. But like even the movement part, just learning to let energy flow through
Yeah.
you, it really is valuable. And I
Mhm.
want you to speak a little bit to that, to the people who say, oh, that's just weird. Like I don't need to tap into that lover side of me. I got that.
Mhm.
I'm sure it's the people who say that who most need the work, but you tell me.
Well, it's life force energy.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about energy, and there was later in the day that we did some other experiments with the sound healing and all that, because we want to move energy through our bodies, and the bottom of your body holds that life force energy, which is sexual energy.
And interestingly enough, this is like kind of off topic, but I was talking to a friend who's having like major digestive issues, and she's
Hmm.
like, I'm convinced that it's all the emotions that I
Oh,
hold in. Anyway,
100%.
so yeah, when
Everything.
you say like lower body energy, it's sexual energy, it's reproductive
Mhm.
ability and energy, it's like
Yeah,
all of
then you
that.
start coming up, right? And then you
Yes.
have your solar plexus, which is more your sense of self and your confidence.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then you have your heart, and then you
Yes.
have your throat, which is about communication,
Right.
speaking
Being
up,
heard.
using your voice, being
Right.
heard.
Okay, let's go back to
Yeah.
the sex stuff though.
I
What do you
mean, like I said, it's primal, it's natural,
Right.
but we put a lot of taboos around it. And many times by how we grew up, if
Sure.
your family, your religion, your faith, whatever that was, your school, society in general. So it's really about, I think, releasing and letting that go so you can fully embrace and enjoy that part of yourself too,
Yeah.
because it's part of being a woman.
Yeah. What advice do you give to women who want to reconnect and feel more like a sexual being? A lot of moms, I mean, you know this from
Yeah.
going through raising kids through the
Hmm.
early years, are exhausted. They don't feel as good as they
Hmm.
used to. Maybe their physical appearance has changed. Um, like I said, you have one more hat to put on during the day. Now you're
Hmm.
taking care of another person. What just, and I know that you can't get into too much detail because we have other things to get to, but what one piece of basic advice would you give to a woman to reconnect with that side of her? Something they can do, a mantra or something they can repeat to themselves? Anything.
I always believe everything starts with the body, with your physiology. Just like with martial arts, for example, if
Right.
I want to go and compete and win this tournament, I need to physically train. I need
Right.
to awaken that part of myself. That
Right.
warrior energy gets awakened by physically moving my body
Mm-hmm.
and doing things that trigger that energy in my
Right.
body. So I can't ignore that. I could do mental training. I could do like emotional and that can be done, but also physically. I always follow the order of creation. If you think of an embryo, the first part of that embryo that was created was the body,
Mm-hmm.
was the spinal cord. Second part was the heart. It had
Mm.
its own intelligence. It beats without the brain. It starts beating before the brain start to have waves. So the body first, heart first, emotions,
Mhm.
and then now you can go to your brain, you can go to your mental and to your intellectual, and that of course it will control your body, but also your body has the power to trigger things in your brain.
That's so true. Like you even like moving in any way to cancel out the brain,
Hmm.
it is a surefire way to kind of like cut off all that overthinking
100%.
at the
Yes.
past. Do
Yes.
we just have to do what, like a strip tease at night? What do we have to do, Barbara?
If you want to.
I'm trying to think. My lingerie collection is not great right now. But no,
There
like
are more
so.
simple things you can do. I love music. For me, music
Yes, you
gets
had a good,
me. Oh,
good sexy
yes.
playlist.
I did.
Will you give it to me and I can share it in
Yeah.
show notes?
Oh, for sure.
It was
Yes,
so
it's
good.
beautiful.
It's just yeah, it just there is something in sound that like brings up different emotions.
Also, you making a sound, you connecting to your breath, you moving your body allows energy to move, because energy moves through the body
Yeah.
through those three: movement, breath, and sound.
Right.
I would say I love taking my time if I can when I'm in the shower, because everyone takes a shower.
Mhm.
I always say that everyone takes a shower. It's easy. Maybe you play some music and take a few breaths and wash your body, not just like you're washing just because
Right.
you got to go, but take your time just to feel it and touch it and make your body feel safe even with your own touch, because many of us, we just don't notice.
Yeah, and you know, you say that, and then if we're uncomfortable at all physically, maybe with how we look, if you can't appreciate yourself, you
Mhm.
won't let someone else
Mhm.
appreciate you.
Yeah,
So it
everything
starts with
starts with loving
yourself. Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
So connecting to the body, I think that's huge. I again believe if you're down, play some music, dance, move your
Mhm.
body, you will feel better. Like there's
Right.
no other way to do it.
Right.
Again, you can go and read and you can tell yourself things, but if you're actually not
Yeah.
activating your physiology, you're gonna pretty much be stuck.
Yeah.
So I believe in the power of moving the
Yeah.
physical body for sure.
It's a good tip.
I have one of our mentors. He always says, "Okay, there's no way to like you can't be upset while you're shaking your butt because you can't." And then I did that with my daughter the
Yeah.
other day. I was like, "Come on, shake your booty." She's like, "No." I was like, "She's like, I'm upset." I'm like, "Okay, do it. Let's see if you won't smile." And she's trying to hold her
Oh,
smile.
that's funny. But that is really good advice. I feel like it's definitely like I don't know. You start the energy moving
Yeah.
physically. Like it makes sense now
Physically,
that you
yes.
say that.
Yes.
Maybe we are overthinking things when it's just like, oh, now I have to think to get into that next moment. No, maybe it is as easy as
Because I believe we are spiritual beings, right? We
Right.
are energy, but we're living in this body.
right.
So how can you use that?
That's interesting. Yeah.
You're
Okay.
having this physical experience.
Yeah.
So you have all of this available and it's with you all the time.
Enjoy it.
You don't need anything else.
enjoy your body.
And maybe you don't even need music. You can go outside, you can touch the grass, you can breathe, you can
Yeah.
feel the wind, just being present in your body. All those things help you to reconnect.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so we got the lass, which is like the young girl, the lover.
Yeah.
Give us the rest
And
of the
then the
archetypes. Let's work-
mother.
The mother.
Yeah. And that mother.
This one I got really emotional in.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. Because the mother energy is about creating, not just children,
Yeah.
but it's about nurturing also
Right.
what you created. And again, it's not just for children. Some women create incredible businesses.
Yeah, I mean, I
Incredible
do feel like,
ideas.
I
Yeah.
do feel like that's probably the energy that I identify with most, not just in the literal sense, but even
Mhm.
what I do. Like I'm just creating little bits of something every
Yeah.
day, whether it's with words or with spoken words, or I mean, so that was a really powerful thing.
Yes, and that mother energy also has a lot to do with protection.
Yeah.
You create, but you protect what you created.
Mm-hmm. So we have that. What's
You have that. And
yeah,
then,
and like you said, I don't want anyone who like doesn't have like children to
Yeah.
be put off by that thought because you really
Mm-mm.
can create in any way. I mean, you have people there, by the way, at your events. I was like, we're not gonna like blow any secrets, but the people that you have there
amazing.
are
Amazing.
incredibly
Yeah.
successful, intelligent, women, like
Hmm.
in jobs that I was like,
Right. Yes.
so
Very successful women, very
very,
incredible group of high achievers
yes,
that are looking
yeah,
for that, I would say, that extra
yeah,
feeling of joy and
right,
fulfillment,
right,
really.
right. Okay, what's after mother?
After mother is the master.
Oh,
And we connect the master with master of emotions
okay.
and that wisdom and being able to maybe mentor other people.
Hmm.
I was listening to this guy speaking about menopause. And if I look at it,
A
that would,
guy. Hold
it's
on.
coming. Well, and we are like one of three species that go through menopause.
That's it?
And whales, for some reason. I know.
Whales. I
Yes,
mean, I
yes.
guess I'm kind of like they're one of the smartest. They're the
They are.
smartest
They're
mammals.
very
So we're in
smart.
great company.
Yes, we are.
But why are we one of the only three ones suffering is the
Well,
question.
according to the research, this doctor was, or he was just explaining that, yes, we bear children,
Right.
right? And that is, let's say, the mother energy. And again, it can be children, it can be ideas or whatever it is. But then he gets to a point in life that there's something even bigger for us to do. And
Ooh,
that's the
that's the
master.
master energy.
Yes.
So how does
Yeah.
someone tap into that? Say they, kids or no kids, are ready to feel that impact, that creative impact to be a master.
That master comes with the wisdom.
Yeah.
So it's about women getting to the stage of life that they have more to offer than just raising children.
So leaning
That's
into
really
what
like,
it is
whoop.
that you bring to the world.
Yes, you bring your own wisdom now that you can ripple that to other people and then
Yeah.
extend that and contribute to others,
Right.
not just the fact that you raise the children,
Right.
but the fact that now what can you teach to those people? And
Right.
doesn't have to be only your own children.
Right.
It's sharing the wisdom, it's perpetuating what you have learned through your whole life.
Right.
And that's why men can have children up to
However old. Yes. We've seen it.
forever.
Yes.
But with us, there's that transition and that beautiful stage of life that now we can give more than just life. And that's the idea.
It's actually
and that's that
a
master.
good way of thinking about it, because whether or not we're conscious of it, I do think we're conditioned to think that our worth as women is tied to certainly our looks and appearance, but also
Mhm.
there's a biological thing of like, oh, I can't have kids anymore, or I'm like went through menopause and I'm beyond the reproductive years and we're like we have gotten those messages in the
Mhm.
past subconsciously. And when I hear you say that in that master phase we can continue to impart wisdom and
Mhm.
it really it totally flips it on its head, and I'm like, oh, I'm actually glad I'm a woman,
Mhm.
because men, like you said, are kind of locked into that binary phase, right?
Yes, I mean they can reproduce forever. I
Right,
mean
they're just
until
stuck in that
they
mode.
because
Yeah,
that's
what,
one of
right,
their gifts.
right?
Because that's what they're here for as well, right?
Right,
They need
right, right.
to perpetuate their species.
The human species, yes.
But for us, I remember this guy was talking about like how important it is even having that grandmother
Yeah,
in our lives.
so true.
Right, for the children, because
Mhm.
she is now teaching whatever it is that she learned, not just to
Right.
herself, but to her grandchildren, or again, to other people. Like we do a beautiful work in South America with our charity, and we
Mhm.
have hundreds of kids that we help. And there's an orphanage. Yes, women are the ones taking care of
Mm.
all the kids because they have, it's part of them to want to nurture and help and contribute to not just themselves, but to others.
Right,
And
right.
most of them are older women because I think, again, you get to that stage in life, okay, I cannot do this anymore, but now I can do even more,
Right.
which is to continue to nurture and mentor, I would
Right.
say.
What comes after the master?
The mystic.
Ooh,
Ooh.
what's this?
Well,
This
the
sounds
mystic
really interesting.
is associated with that intuition,
Okay.
that
Is
knowing.
this a phase that and as we discuss these, there's a chronological element to it, obviously, but do people always experience these archetypes in this necessary order?
I put them in order because I just feel that it would be like a natural progression of
Right.
age, I would say. But also, we never want to stop being the last.
Right. You want to tap in at any point. Yeah.
Yes, we
It's
want
almost
to
like
have
a
that
layer
available.
cake. You want to like
Yeah.
cut down and have a little taste of
Yes.
everyone. Okay. So,
And
okay,
and
that's
I'm sure
interesting.
you've seen with young children, they can be very, very mystical,
Oh yeah. I feel like they're
extremely
tapped
intuitive.
in. They're tapped in more oftentimes than we
Much more
are.
when they are young.
Right.
And then they
right.
lose that because they start to have, again,
Right. They
conditionings
reason
and they
their way
go
out of
to
it.
their
Mhm.
minds, to their brain, and rationalize and start to be a little more rational on
Right.
their thoughts.
Okay. So tell me more about the mystic.
Well, the mystic is about knowing. It's
Mhm.
about that gut feeling. It's tapping into that side of yourself that knows without needing an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can also connect to your own rationality
Right.
to maybe back up the intuition, if that
Okay.
makes sense. You know, when
Mhm.
you have a feeling, you have a gut feeling, and
Yeah.
then you can go, okay, let me just now check if it actually, I can
Right.
justify it and it can make sense.
Right.
And now, yes, now you can make a decision,
Right.
not just from your intuition, but also from
Information.
logical.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
But many times we try to go just, okay, I'm going to logically make this decision. And I
Right.
shared that with you all in that, in the retreat. You can make that decision just rationally, but if you don't listen to your intuition, sometimes that might be the wrong decision because you're not following that feeling that you have.
What is a tip to tap in quickly to intuition? Do you have like a breathing exercise? Do you have something that you do?
Okay, so for me, I noticed that I was shutting down that part of myself when I was not listening to it. So sometimes I would have those little
Mm-hmm.
that we all have, that
Yep.
there's a
Gut
little
feelings.
pull to
Yep.
it, that gut feeling.
Right.
And I'll be like, okay, no, that doesn't make sense. But many
Right.
times it doesn't have to make sense. So the more you shut
Right.
down, the less connected you are to it.
Oh,
But the more
so
you kind of stop and listen to it and play with it, make a decision. Maybe start with small decisions.
interesting. Yeah. You strengthen it by listening to it. It
Yeah,
sounds
maybe like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go that way
Right.
today, or
Right. Right.
whatever that is. Like
Yeah.
little things that maybe won't have such a big impact in your
Mhm.
life, and you're gonna start noticing that most of the times
Right.
that is pulling you to the right direction. I like somebody asked that question also that day, about how do I notice. Many times when decisions are rooted in fear, I feel that that's not intuition; it's just
That's
fear.
anxiety. Right.
Yes. And now okay, I'm afraid that
Oh,
this is
okay.
going to happen, so I'm going to do this. It's
That's
not really
actually a good
intuition.
question to ask
Yeah.
yourself. Is this feeling being motivated by fear, or is
Right.
it just a genuine?
Yes.
Okay.
And sometimes you cannot explain,
Right. Sure.
which is fine. But
But
see if you can follow that. And then you're going to start to connect a little more to that part of yourself.
okay.
Because I did that. I used to shut down. No, I'm not going to do this now
Right.
because of whatever
Right.
I was thinking.
Right.
But then later I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I do feel like there are periods of my life that I just shut that down too.
Yeah.
I
Well,
always
we've
say
all done it.
God whispers, then he screams. And like I really had to get screamed at a couple of times.
Yes. Because you
So
didn't listen to the whisper.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what part of me just felt like I needed more cold hard proof, but I got it. Got it. And I feel like if I hadn't finally listened, my life would probably look totally different in so many ways. But God is good in that way, or
Oh,
whatever it is. Like
100%.
I do believe that like he or she or whatever source never gives up on you and pushing
you're
you in
part
that
of it.
path. Yeah, because we are. Yes, that divinity lives within us.
Yeah. You're an expression of it.
Yeah,
So you're always connected to it.
right. If you acknowledge and listen to it, yeah,
I mean, you're always, no matter what. But if you acknowledge and listen to it, now you're receiving the message.
yeah, clear. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, what comes after Mystic?
Well, then we have the warrior.
Yes, this is what
And
you're
I
very good at.
love my warrior.
You're good. Barbara's a badass. How many boards can you break,
I
by the way?
don't
Speaking
know.
of warrior, like what are some? Just real quick, you're a what black belt? What degree?
7th degree. Yeah.
And I don't know if you're watching this video, but you're not a large person. You're tiny.
I am
and
tiny,
like,
yeah.
you're so strong. What are just
can be.
before we talk about the concepts? Like, what are some of the cool? Like, have you beat up full grown men? Like, give me some tangible evidence of your strength.
Well, I think also coming back with the wisdom, many times you avoid things, right?
Yeah, it's
So
knowing
avoiding
when
is
to
always
fight.
a good way to.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a wise way not to
But
get
you could
yourself in
kick
that-
someone's ass.
I could, but also I cannot ignore the fact that if it's this huge 200-pound man coming at me,
Yeah.
I want to be smart enough to maybe get out of the way
right,
instead of putting myself in that position.
right,
Because I'm also aware of me being tiny,
Right.
my 115 pounds,
Right.
sometimes 18. Physically, there are
Yeah.
things that I just can't do, and
Right.
it's okay. I'm aware of that. That day we talked about also, especially for those young girls, about the beautiful gifts of being in this body,
right,
being a woman.
right.
The fact that we can smell more sense, that we have more
Mhm.
taste
Yes,
buds.
which I didn't know
It's
that we
so cool. We can see more
smell
colors.
better.
Oh, yes.
But it makes sense.
We can. We have to.
And it has to do with how we survived.
Yes, exactly.
Eons ago. or
And
whatever.
going back to evolution, it was all to be able to keep our children alive.
Right. Right.
and
Um,
protect ourselves. So we developed all that like physically. And men are stronger physically. We can't ignore
yeah,
that.
I can't deny
And
that.
even though energy, again, masculine energy, feminine energy, we have all of them that are differences in living in a feminine body and a masculine body. And that's
Mhm.
just how it is, no matter what.
What are some other warrior like attributes?
Oh,
Or because people
yeah.
might hear this and be like, "Ah, I'm just like, I'm not really that tough. So I can't
No,
identify with that part of
yeah,
me."
I believe, especially when we own businesses, we tap a lot into warrior energy
Hmm.
because warrior energy is about action. It's about having a purpose. It's about moving with purpose. It's about setting a goal. It's about reaching. Is having the discipline to do it. Like when we talked about the goddess gifts and the
Right.
warrior wisdoms, like one of them was sensuality for us,
Hmm.
which is being present in the
Right.
moment and indulging in whatever is happening in your body and slowing down. But the warrior wisdom would be discipline,
Right.
because that's why I need to connect those two. Just giving you an example. Let's say I love eating something delicious.
Right.
Yes. And I can indulge in that and I can be so present in the moment, but I can use my discipline maybe to say no to things that are
Right.
not going to be good for me,
Right.
not just in that moment, but in the future.
Right. So it's a
S-
blend of kind
It's
of both.
you have to, and
Right.
I think the secret is to be able to harmonize those energies and bring those wisdoms of the
Hmm.
warrior with the gifts of the
Hmm.
goddesses and putting them together. Because if you only live in one side, you're not living to your full potential
Right.
at
Right.
all.
And you might start to see it
Yeah.
in your relationships or your self-worth or
Yourself, yeah,
whatever.
and yourself, really. Because
Yeah.
also, yes, I can be very disciplined, and I can, let's say, I also have those moments. Okay, I'm going to eat a certain way. I'm going to say like no sugar, and I've been
Right.
kind of out of it for 5 years. And I'm going to exercise, and I'm going to schedule this time to work, and I can be super structured.
Right.
But if I don't add a little bit of enjoyment to it, that's when I get tired.
Right.
And on the other hand, if I just enjoy the moment, if I'm just enjoying myself, eating whatever I feel like it, sleeping to whatever time I want, da 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 da. Now I feel like I'm not moving forward in life.
Right.
So I
Right.
need to add that discipline to it as well.
Right.
So that's when they come together. How can I create the space to enjoy all this, but also be mindful of my actions now, how they're going to impact my future? So
Okay.
again, the goddess, it's a lot about being in the moment, and the warrior, it's about, okay, what is the purpose? What is the direction?
The
How do I
overarching.
commit to it?
Right.
How do I make it happen?
The planning
The
too.
planning, yes. Yeah, creating that structure and creating that
Right.
space for it.
I'm losing count, but did we get to the seventh? Is there
No,
one
we have
more?
the goddess.
Oh, the last best for
Last one.
last.
Well,
Okay.
for me, the goddess is that encompassing of all of them. How can you actually embody and be in flow with all those energies? In the beginning, you might need to consciously make a decision. You have to,
Right.
okay, I got to take a step back, stop, and add more of this into my
Right.
life, create more space for my playful one to come
Right.
out, for my last to come out.
Right.
How do I nurture my children also with some structure
Right.
and protection? And anyway, going on. But then later, it just becomes part of you.
Hmm.
Like we play tennis together,
Mhm.
right? And we're practicing. And in the beginning, you're like physically aware of what you're doing.
Hmm.
I'm sure the pros, they don't even think about it. It's
Right.
just part of them. It's just an extension of themselves.
Hmm.
Like martial arts is like that for me.
Becomes
When
second
yeah.
nature almost.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's say when we're playing tennis, I'm still thinking how I need to hit the ball and where I need to throw the ball. But in martial arts, I don't even think where I'm gonna
Right.
kick. I'm just do it. It's a reaction because it's so in my body.
Right. Right.
And that happens with this practice as well. The more you practice to tap into those sides of you, the more naturally they're going to show up in your life.
Right.
So it's a constant practice. It's not like, okay, I'm going to read about it and do a class and be done with it. No, you have to actually be mindful and constantly, consciously cultivate that.
So the wisdom of the goddess is kind of pulling all of these threads together.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. That way you can flow. And then the warrior creates the structure for you to flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about the river.
Yeah.
Were you there when the girls came back and they did the river?
No,
Oh,
I
it was
missed
so
that.
cute.
No, I was probably stuck
they
in traffic
came.
at
Yeah,
that point.
it's
Yeah.
okay. They came and they had this whole
That's cool.
exercise that they were showing, that they had two girls on one girl on one side and one on the other side, and then one of them was the river,
river,
and then
that's
so like,
cool.
okay, we're creating the banks and the
Yeah, yeah,
structure,
yeah.
and
Oh, I
then they
love
were
that.
flowing. Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Which
nice
that was the
analogy.
yeah, the
Well-
representation of that structure of the warrior and the masculine
Right.
energy, so you can allow your goddess energy to flow.
What are some, I don't want to call them like success stories because it's kind of
Mm.
like, can't really define what success is in this realm, but what are some of the
Yeah.
positive feedback stories you've heard from people you've worked with who've been conscious of these archetypes and done some work on
Gosh,
them?
there's so many. I mean, I literally had probably like 4 or 5 women getting pregnant after coming to retreats because they just released energy that was stuck. Yeah.
Wow.
A beautiful one that I had was, I think it was 2 years ago. She had a baby that was about 18 months at the time. And she had the baby through IVF.
Mhm.
And she told me when she was going back, she's from London. She came for the retreat.
Wow.
And then she said, when I'm going back, I'm going to do the second round and we're going to have a second baby and all that. And that was her first retreat that she came. And then went on. And then like 2 months later, she messaged me and she's like, Barbara, I am pregnant. Like naturally, I got pregnant. And she
Wow.
said, and it was right after I came back. And she's like crying. And later I saw her in person. She
Yeah.
hugged me, cried. She's like, I am so sure that was because of the work that we did, because I obviously had things that were stuck and
Right.
energy that is stuck. Because many times, especially with fertility, yes, there
Mhm.
are physical things that happen, but many times is
Energetic.
Yes.
Why are people quick to dismiss that? Why do you think they think it's
I think
woo-woo?
it's just, I'm just going to say it's just the agenda of, okay, if people don't find anything wrong with your body, but okay, but it makes more
Yeah.
money
Yeah. To have
to
a problem
go
to
through that.
diagnose,
Yes.
to treat,
Yes.
to
Yeah.
yeah, I remember doing acupuncture to get pregnant with my son, who's my first. And I don't know, I
Hmm.
think it was like 9 months we were trying to get pregnant, which really isn't that long, but feels long
Oh,
because
yeah. Yeah.
it's like,
I was
oh,
trying for 6 months and I thought,
that's
is there
it.
something
Right.
wrong with me?
And I did acupuncture, which is a different
Yeah.
method for
Yeah.
like kind of moving energy and unblocking. And
Hmm. Hmm.
it worked.
Yes.
I mean, but
And even me, when I was trying to get pregnant, I was like really worried about it.
right.
And I remember a friend of mine, she went through the same thing. And then she said, I used to say that if I was like 18 and not worried about it, I would totally
Yeah,
get pregnant.
it's true.
But now that I'm in my 30s and I
Uh-huh.
want to do it, now it's stuck because also you worry. And anyway, so it is a lot about energy. So I've had a few of those stories. That was like the biggest one for me
Right.
because she already had gone through IVF
Sure.
once. And then I had 3 or 4, actually, I had 4 other ones that just got pregnant right after and kind of like were not expecting.
Wow. What
And
about
yeah.
women who've said it has positive impact on their relationship with themselves or
Yes.
with their partners? Speak to that a little bit.
Well, that happens too. And I've had also a woman who got divorced after simply because
Wow. What did she say? Like she felt like she discovered something new that like her partner didn't.
I also believe no one should be with anyone if they are not happy.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be stuck with somebody if
Right.
both of you are not happy. And they were going through a lot of things for a long
Right.
time. And they tried and
Right.
she tried as well. And for a while they were better. And then it got to a point, it was just a decision of, okay, this is, you
Right.
go do your thing, I'll go do my thing. Because also I remember she told me, she's like, Barbara, I feel like he wants me to play small and I don't want to play small for
Mm.
myself. And that is
What?
something
We don't like him. Tell me more about this guy.
I mean, I actually really like him, but at the same,
but, okay, but I do. Okay, that brings up something that I want to talk about.
Mhm.
We're not talking about this guy in particular,
No,
but
no, no.
I do think there's also a type of man who can't handle the energy that an expressive woman brings. Whether
That's a boy.
that's a Barbara, this is why you're the expert. That was such a good soundbite.
That's not a
Clip
man.
it. That's a boy. We don't want
That's
boys.
a boy.
We want men.
don't want boys. Yeah. And that's a boy.
How do you know if you're with a boy and not a man? Besides, he doesn't want to see you succeed. Because a lot of times they don't know that they don't want that. They just
Mhm.
bristle
They
when
feel
you
intimidated. Yeah, but real men don't. And that's the difference.
Real men are proud.
Yeah.
your-
Of course.
yeah.
They're proud. I think also comes with insecurity.
Yeah.
And men are, like my husband says, men are insecure by nature because we never know if a child is our child. That's his thing.
What?
That's how
We
he-
sure hope that's not the case. Yeah.
Because it's like a woman always knows that the baby
Yeah,
is the baby, but
yeah.
men, we never know. So we are already insecure by nature. That's it.
So if I mean, I guess you would probably know if you've got a boy and not a man. But
I
like,
think so. I mean, there's control.
Yeah.
There's immature masculine.
Right.
That's what it is. It shows immaturely. Again, that
yeah.
need of control.
And you always you
the-
feel it. You know
You
it.
feel it, yes.
Yeah, I wonder if those relationships are salvageable under the best of circumstances, or
I
if they
also-
maybe need to go to their own.
No,
like,
I also do believe
retreat and figure it
out. They can. I also believe, of course, when men do their work and
Yeah.
they become healthier in their own selves, in their
Right.
own masculinity, I would
Right.
say. And what does that mean? When men can tap into their full masculine energy is about being more of a provider, more
Right.
of a protector, and provider not just financially, because in reality there are a lot of women that make more money than men,
Right.
and it's okay. But if they can provide emotionally for those women, that matters more.
Yeah, not to like switch it to the masculine energy for a minute, but I do
But we
want to
can,
tap into
yeah.
that because there are courses and things, pieces of education, I'm sure, designed specifically for men. But say a woman feels like, ooh, that sounds like my guy. Like, I wish he would learn how to be that like held space for me.
Mhm.
Is there anything that a woman can do to encourage that, or do they kind of have to
Oh yeah,
come to
yeah.
that on their own?
Yeah, they can, because what happens is most of independent women
Right.
that are very self-sufficient, they are self-sufficient. So they give the message that they don't need a man.
Okay, so be
Mm.
granular with me.
Hmm.
Say that's what's happening. Say this woman is a higher, this doesn't have to be the only scenario, but
Yeah.
say she's the higher earner.
Yeah.
Say she's the dominant financial figure
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
household. And so she does, by virtue of that, have to make a lot of decisions or whatever. How can she signal to her man that, okay, I still need your masculine energy in this way? Like, give me exact things.
Well, most of them, they do the opposite. They signal that they don't need it. Oh, I got
Yeah,
it.
right.
I
So
got
how can
this.
we flip that?
Even little things. Can you help me with this? Like
Yeah.
asking for help is a big one.
Yeah.
Also,
Hmm.
like I'm going to say it, just like very simple things. Carrying a bag, or I don't know,
Opening a
unloading a
door.
luggage, opening a door.
Right.
Not that we cannot do it,
Right.
but if we can have someone else doing it for us, I think it's beautiful,
Sure.
because then you're also giving them the gift of doing it for you.
Yeah.
Because when you do it yourself, you kind of take away, I would say,
Sure.
the feeling of that provision,
Right.
right? And many times, if they cannot contribute financially as much as the woman is contributing to the household, there are going to be other needs that need to be met.
Right. And
They
they
need to feel needed. And that's something that many
Yeah.
times we drop the ball as women, when we are so independent that we
Right.
just, I got it, I got it, I got it.
Right.
And many women tell me, okay, they say, well, but I cannot trust that he's going to do it. Well, but have you tried?
Yeah. Got to give him a shot. A shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to give them also the space to step up. But many
Right.
times we just don't. We chop, right?
Yeah. 1 and 2. We got him right here. No,
Yeah.
not us.
Which is
though.
true. I mean,
No, I mean, I've probably been guilty of that. Listen, I think we're products too of a post feminist era that taught us some really valuable lessons in independence and strength. And
I think we went a little
in some ways, yeah. And
over.
in some
Yeah.
ways, it kind of, energetically, to use the
Mhm.
theme we've been discussing, kind of threw us off balance in other ways,
And I think there's a lot of, if you're talking about energetically, there's a lot of anger around, I would say, the feminist movement.
Mhm. Yeah, the man
And
hating I don't identify with.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that was triggered,
It was yeah,
and that was rippled
right, right.
energetically,
And
not even consciously.
you know what's interesting too? The housewives of the 40s and 50s, they probably did have things to rail against. They probably did experience things that we don't now because men
Mhm.
are a little less I don't know. I don't want to say it's going to sound horrible. We trained them, but we didn't. They're a little softer. They're, we don't hear as much of the like, well, this isn't necessarily true. I was going to say we don't hear as much of the bad stuff, but I guess people are reliably bad through the eras. But what I'm trying to say is women have gained that financial freedom or
Mhm.
that education that
Mhm.
unlocked that.
Yeah,
And
which
they
I
kind of
am all
find,
for it.
yes, I mean, I have a
Yes,
son and 2 daughters and I
yes,
want them.
yeah.
I'm like, own your own house before settling down with your person. Own a car, own something big, do something on your own totally before, just to understand and then allow that in. But anyway, that's a separate conversation. But what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is the men are a little bit more evolved, thankfully now too.
Mhm.
So it was a relief to me. Like I think it was a revelation to me that I could just fully take my foot off the gas and just like
Yeah.
let him take over in some aspects.
Mhm.
And like,
It's great.
I feel like people are gonna blast me like, oh, 50s housewife. And I recognize the privilege in that statement. I recognize having a partner with good health insurance and, a
Mhm.
stable job
Mhm.
is
Same,
a
yeah.
privilege. But I love creating and working so much that I
Mhm.
don't think I was in a space to fully remove myself from that world for a while.
Which is fine.
Yeah. But again, I
It's
never
you.
thought I'd be okay being a stay-at-home mom is what I'm trying to say.
Oh my gosh,
Even
that
though
was
I'm
my worst nightmare before too.
yes, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I still have a
Of course.
great opportunities
Because
that I
again,
do,
there's
but
that
it's
part
not a
of
full time.
you have
Yeah.
that part of yourself that still wants more, that
I've
wants to give more, that wants to contribute more.
Sure, yeah, and I do
Yeah.
know that maybe it's not showing up as a 9 to 5 job anymore, but it is showing up in other relevant ways,
Mhm.
So to give my daughters the ability to understand that that could also be the case,
And also, if they have the choice and they have, like you said, it's a privilege to
Right.
be able to raise their children.
It is, and I know that I'm very lucky to be
Mhm,
able to do that.
mhm.
I pray that more good men are I have a good guy, and I pray that more good men are being raised, and
I think also
yeah.
what happens is that I mean, if we go into even economics, everything is so expensive that most
Yeah.
households, they need to have both
Yes.
men and women working.
Yeah,
And
and I
back
mean
then, it wasn't like that. So women could be more present with the
Right.
children and be home. But
Yes,
now things are a little bit different, which is, I think it's somehow sad because I've watched many women that they want to be home with their children,
Right,
but they have to go back to work.
right.
And I remember the first time one of my friends told me that, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I have to go back." And it was so nice just to be home. Like, how could you be home, like doing nothing?
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking,
Yeah.
but then once my daughter was born, I'm like, I stayed at home for 10 months
Right.
because thankfully Sergio could support our house, but also I really didn't want to go back,
Yeah.
which I never thought would happen to me. But once I became a mother, everything shifted.
Yeah, it does, and I think maybe we give ourselves the freedom, and maybe that's not the conclusion some women come to. Maybe they
Yeah.
discover, "I actually do like having this time outside of that," and that's
Yeah.
fine too, but
And
I
I've
just
had,
wanna give I do
yeah,
wanna give a voice to that too, because I
yeah.
think the it can feel like you're either all in or you're all out, and it doesn't
Yeah.
it's really not that way at all,
No, and again, I think it's going back to discovering and unleashing those different gifts in you so you
Mhm.
can actually show up.
Yes, and letting them bubble to the surface in a way where you can figure out, "Okay, this is the blend that works for me."
For me, and it's not the same as
Right,
you.
right.
Like, I think you and
Right.
we are similar, but I have a really good friend of mine that her babies were born. She's like, "I'm not breastfeeding.
Right.
I'm going back to work." Like, that was
Right.
her choice.
And she stuck with that track and is
She's
happy, I'm
still, and
sure. Yes.
she's, well, happy to a point.
Right.
Because also then later she is the main provider for the
Yeah.
family, and now there's not much she respects and admire in her partner, and then there's that polarity that just they depolarized, and it
Yeah.
does happen.
Yeah.
And again, if men are not the solely provider financially, they can still provide more than that.
Yes, and I don't want anyone to take away from this
No.
conversation that we're, like, shitting on the type of man you got. We're
No,
really
no,
not,
no,
but,
no, no,
like,
no.
I do think there's value. I wish someone would say, like the people say, the quiet part out loud, like, it's okay
Yeah.
to let your man be
If
a
it
man.
works for you.
Do whatever that
Whatever
means.
works for
Yes,
you.
let you
Yeah.
let him show up in a way, or to allow yourself to tap into these other parts of yourself. And who knows what blend of the archetypes works best for you, but you
Yeah.
don't know until you tap into kind of all of them at some point.
Correct. Yes.
So-
Because if you don't, you are living a little bit limited. That's what
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
And coming back to relationships, my mom said something one time when Sergio asked her if she thought our relationship was going to work. Her first question, she said, "Let me ask you 3 questions." The first one was, "Do you have something you respect and admire on each other?"
Oh, I love that.
And that's huge. If you don't admire and respect something on your partner,
And I can immediately think of what
yes.
my thing is with Andrew.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Many of them.
And what were the other 2 questions? Don't hold out on us. What else did she say?
Well, she asked if we actually enjoy being in the presence of each other.
Right.
Physically.
Right.
Spending time, conversation, if we
Right.
had that connection. And then the
Oh no. Do we want to know the third?
She was like, "Is he good in bed?" That was her third question.
This is your mom?
That's my
That's
mom.
why you're so cool.
I know.
Because
I mean,
she's
she is so
a no
cool.
holds barred kind of lady,
No.
huh?
No, I mean, that was her question because, I mean, and maybe for
I
other
mean, that
people.
does kind of boil it down to the basics.
Yeah. For her, those are the 3 main things. And I kind of identify with it.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
kind of is. We'll be 15 years into marriage
Yeah.
in May. So in like 6 months or whatever,
Yeah.
or 8 months. And you're kind of right.
Yeah.
That's all that, not all, it's like kind of a lot, but it's all
But
that
I
really
think
has
if you
to-
have those 3, it meets a lot of your needs.
Yeah.
And if you can come together in that way, again, I think that respect and admiration is huge.
Yeah.
Because you can love someone and you can
Right.
have all that, but if there's no mutual respect,
Right.
and if you don't admire something that oh my gosh, he's so good at this, or
Right.
she's so good at this,
Right.
Even it happens many times when women choose to stay home with their children,
Mhm.
and now you have husbands going, okay, what did you do all day?
Don't
I
get
mean,
me
that is
started.
that lack of admiration for what they're doing. Even
Yeah.
though they could not be with the kids for an hour. I know because my husband is like that. He's like, I never say, what have you
You
done all day? Because I couldn't be with her for
couldn't.
an hour.
I leave. What did Andrew call it? Babysitting one time. I was like, they're
Oh,
your kids.
I know.
I mean, and he's like, it's just about as modern and as great as they get. And when he says that, I'm like, okay, we gotta talk
Sergio
about.
said the same thing one time. He's like, I'm not, I don't babysit my kids. And I'm like, good, because you're their father. You're not supposed to be babysitting
Right,
anyway.
right. So technically, none of this qualifies as babysitting.
It's not babysitting.
But I mean, that goes to show you the difference.
And
in
then later he's
sexism
like, no,
right
I mean,
there.
like, I'm not going to babysit. Like, just
It's
be,
just-
like doing nothing. I want to be doing something. And I'm like,
Well,
okay,
it goes back to what you said about our capabilities and our innate strengths. As females, I have a level of patience that
Uh-huh.
Andrew could never hope to have when
Yeah.
it comes to the emotional range that the kids are dealing. Like sometimes I'm just like, tap out, go upstairs. Like I know how to handle. I don't
Mhm.
even let him try to intervene on certain conversations because I know that it's going to require a lot of patience and
Yeah.
time with one of the kids or whatever. And I'm like, let me handle it. And I do feel like I'm awesome for doing that.
And
you know?
sometimes I am at least happy to welcome how he handles it.
Yep, and just put an end to it.
Yes, because
Yeah, I know.
we need that sometimes.
I
too.
could negotiate all night. Once, yeah, he came in recently and had some strong words for one of the kids, and I was like, "You should do that more often," because like,
Yeah,
that
like,
just like
that helps a lot.
put an immediate stop.
That's
But
why I
it's a blend.
believe we need both. We need the father and the mother. We need the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah,
and
you
the
need-
warrior and the goddess. Because if you look around nature, there's duality everywhere.
Mhm.
You have the heat, you have the cold,
Right.
you have the darkness, you have the light, you have the sun, you have the moon, you have the
Right.
soft, you have the heart. Like it's all around you.
Right.
And
right.
that is in us as well. So that's why I'm so passionate about helping women to realize that and being able to tap into all that potential that is just there. And some of us, we are only going into this one direction.
Right.
And we don't know how incredible it feels to be tapped
Yeah.
into that other part of ourselves.
I can't recommend your in-person events enough. If there's any that are happening in the next, I don't know, 6 months to a year, can you tell us where people
I
can
will. Yeah.
sign up?
I'm
or-
deciding where the
Okay.
next one is going to be.
I'll
and-
drop it in show notes, and what I'll do is I'll put a link to just your website so that we'll
Yeah, I need to
constantly
redo my
update.
website.
Oh, it's fine.
Because this is such a passion of mine, and even when you're asking me in the beginning, okay, what is the title? What is I like? I take this as such a. I mean, it might sound cliche, but it's such a mission.
right? Oh,
that
I understand that.
I
Mhm.
don't need to do it for money. I don't need to do it just to feel good.
Right.
I feel good in so many other areas.
Right.
And our income comes from other areas too. So this is really a decision that I made of wanting to share this with
Yeah.
women because I know we need it. I know we can benefit from it. And I even told you when we were in the bathroom, I know my social presence needs to be a little bigger. And I do not post enough. I don't talk about it enough. And I need to because it's such a strong message. And it's so beautiful when we see the transformations that happen from, like you asked me about success stories. I
Yeah.
give you like one and maybe two, or that for some people's eyes, okay, a divorce is not a success. Well, but it can be.
It's a realignment.
It's a realignment
Right.
and it's okay. And if both of parties are okay with it and they're better off, even though it's not easy. I know it's not, because when I met Sergio, he was going through his divorce.
Mhm.
And it's so cute because he said that he always talked about commitment. He always talked about responsibility because that's what marriage was for him. And
Mhm.
we all have different blueprints of what things mean
Right.
to us, right? And then he said that when he his former wife and him decided to divorce, he said he called his mentor. He's like, "Sir, how am I going to talk about commitment and responsibility now if I'm getting divorced?" And then he said, "Well, you're gonna change your speech and you're gonna talk about joy and happiness."
And then get remarried.
and then and then when we met, he was like, "I'm never marrying again.
Yeah.
I'm not having any more kids." We had 4 kids. And I'm like, "It's fine. I'm here just to enjoy. It's all good." And in the end, I mean, we're going on 20 years now. And
That's
it's crazy, but it's beautiful because again, it is that realignment. And he's a much better man.
Right.
Probably because
He's
he
probably a
also
different person too.
100%.
Yeah.
He's a different person from when I met him. He was
Yeah.
wounded. He was hurt.
Yeah.
I was young. So there's a lot. Like we grew a lot together and we
You know,
helped each other.
well, and if there's something I want to say, and I feel like this is like a great sort of thought to end on. I said this in the beginning. I know you on a personal level,
Yeah.
and you're a friend in addition to being someone who I professionally admire and have worked with. I think your energy is so authentic and light, like positive. People have a hard time with how true to your how you
Yeah.
are. And I'm not like in a mean way, but like you inspire me. Like I see you being who you are. I love you, girl. No, and I don't mean this flippantly, but like I'm drawn to people who are living who they are
Yeah.
with no regard for the judgment or no regard with the I don't understand, why is she so happy all the time, or like you are such a positive force for people who know you, and you really live what you teach other people. It's
Mhm.
very admirable. And I think, yeah, that's why I believe in what you're doing, because you are a living example of what it looks like to live with an open heart.
Yeah.
I have never heard you pass judgment on people.
Mhm.
I've never heard you, you know, not that like we don't talk about negative things ever, but come to a conclusion that leaves someone feeling less than or whatever. But I mean, it's a joy to see someone living so authentically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I take that compliment
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very
And people
to
who are
heart. Yeah.
not healed or who do not want to know all the parts of themselves will wonder like, why, how can someone be so happy all the time?
I think we always mirror
Yeah.
what's inside of us also, right?
That's so true. What did I read recently?
Yeah.
It was like we see what we struggle with or something like that.
Well, I think we see ourselves on other people too.
Yeah.
If I'm not happy with myself, if silly example, if I don't love my body, I'm going to find something wrong in your body. Like I'm going to
Yes.
talk bad about something that
Right,
you
right,
have.
right.
Oh yeah, but she whatever
Yeah.
has fake boobs or
Right.
blah. I'm going to say, I'm going to say something because that is an insecurity of mine.
Right, right. Oh, that's so true. And there's
Right?
so many, and everybody's got all different types in their orbit, right? So like no hate, no shade, but it is a reminder to only bring in the people who carry that same energy as you.
And especially when we do
Right.
those retreats, they're
Mhm.
small, 20 people. That's
Right.
my group. And I love keeping it like that for that particular scenario because we get to go deep, but it's personal and
Yeah.
it's intimate.
Right.
Because I feel that we need to get to the bottom of it
Right.
personally
Right. And
to be able to
yeah,
transform.
absolutely. And it really strips away the embarrassment or the vulnerability and shows you, okay, other people are being honest in this moment,
Mhm.
conversationally or in whatever exercise.
Yeah.
I can be too, and it
Yeah.
really is a gift.
Yeah, and I've even done events with other people together, and we had a few conflicts because at one point she said, "I don't know, you're crying with them, and it's confusing if you are the teacher or if you." And I'm like, one, they are also my friends. All
Mhm.
these women coming, they're like personal friends of
Right.
mine. So if they're going through something, I feel it for them too. I
Right.
cannot just pretend nothing happened. Like even on this event, Sergio and I, we had an argument one of the nights, like when he came, I think it was Thursday night, whatever. And then the next day I told him about it because I also cannot be a hypocrite and say,
Right.
oh my gosh, everything is just
Right.
this and you need to be like that when I'm not living in myself. So
Mm.
I went and I told him what we argued about, and we had a good laugh, and it was kind of funny later. But I like to be honest and to be vulnerable and be authentic because if not, I feel like if I'm not myself, I'm not going to be able to be happy.
Mhm.
And coming back to vibration, right? And
Mhm.
through that energy, like if I am vibrating in this frequency of me, just being myself, it's much easier because it doesn't take effort.
Mhm. It's
I
true.
don't need to like be fighting to
Right.
be this way or this way. I freaking wear that thing, around my head for tennis, and I don't care what everyone says. I'm
It's true.
dressing like an old lady if I want to be away from the sun, whatever that is. Or I move and I talk and I say things, and I think I'm just like screw whatever you think. People are gonna pass judgment anyway.
That's true. They're gonna have something to say no
They're
matter
gonna
what.
have something
And
to
like you
say.
said, more often it's a reflection of what maybe they're
So
struggling
many
with.
times when whatever people say, I'm like, well, it's
That's for
it's
you.
on them.
Yeah.
I read this book years ago and I love it. It's The Four Agreements.
Mhm.
And one of them is don't take anything personal.
Ugh.
One of the agreements. And I'm like, I am not taking anything personal.
Yeah.
Because many times, even like with my own husband,
Yeah.
sometimes he snaps and he says things that I'm like, okay, it's not just me. There's something else
Right.
happening. And men have a lot of that too. And then I go like, okay, baby, what else is going on? Because you wouldn't usually
Right.
respond to me
You
this
give him
way.
the chance to.
Yeah. And he's like, oh my
Explore.
gosh, this
Yeah.
happened in the business. And then also that gives an opportunity for him to talk to me about it.
Right.
Because he always says, no real man is going to come to their wife and whine about whatever is happening at work. I'm like, yeah, but we can
Yeah,
talk
but
about
of
it.
course, yeah.
But I notice those things in him and I'm not taking it personal.
Right.
Because if I do, now I'm going to suffer.
Right.
Because then I'm going to create a story
Right.
in
Oh,
my
yeah. I
mind
do that
why
all the
he's
time.
upset. And now it's going to last for hours or
Sure,
days.
sure,
Like,
yeah.
I think one sign of evolution in our relationship has been, it's not that we don't argue. It's not that we don't have discussions, but now we solve them very quickly.
Yes. Yep. Again, not to brag, that is something Andrew and I fight really well.
Yeah.
We will let it out
Yeah.
and then we will look at each other and we will laugh. But
Yeah.
I don't think, I'm going to knock on all the wood. I don't think we have ever had an argument go, I don't know, more than a couple of hours
Mhm.
at the most.
That's good.
Oh,
Oh, we've had in the
uh,
beginning, especially. It
yeah,
was
maybe in the
tough.
beginning.
Yeah.
I do
You're also
remember.
adjusting to each other.
Yeah, yeah, but now again, going back to like what makes a relationship good, and I'm not saying we have this great relationship, but
You can
for
say
us,
it.
I do feel like we have a great relationship actually. It's pretty good.
I
Whatever.
think you do too.
But it's a trial and error situation. We've had really awful periods, but what you said about, acknowledging our version of the
Mhm.
story and acknowledging that the other person has one and just committing to like working through it and not taking it personal now that I think about it, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's get this out, figure it out and move on.
Mhm. Yeah,
So-
that I mean, really, that book I've listened
to
to it
read
like
it.
3 times.
I know it's
great.
like it's like
It's
a
like
classic.
a 2.5-hour audiobook.
Audiobook.
Oh,
Okay.
it's excellent.
Okay.
And if you want to know, really, the first agreement is be impeccable with your word, the things that
Yeah.
you say. Impeccable. If you translate to Latin, peccato is sin.
Mm,
So when you speak things that are sinful,
mm.
and not sin in
Right,
a
but-
religious way, but just if you say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid,"
Right.
that's not being impeccable.
Right.
So
Oh,
you need to
that's
be impeccable
interesting.
with your with yourself, with other
with
people,
others too.
100%. And then the second one is do not take anything personal. And I think that's the second one or the third. And then the third or second is don't assume anything.
Mm. It's another
Especially
big
when
one.
someone else does something,
Yeah,
you
I do that a lot.
assume, and
Yeah.
then you put a meaning and you give
What did
like
I
an
do? Or-
intention
yeah.
behind whatever
Mhm.
it is that is happening. And sometimes you just can't.
Right.
Like I mean, even going back to playing tennis, there's this guy who plays tennis with me on Saturdays. And the first time I played with him, I did something. Anyway, we lost a point, and he was like, "Do not throw the ball to the person on the net." And I was like, geez, like he's yelling at me. But then I have this rule with
Right.
myself, and I was like, okay, don't assume anything. And I was like, hey, David, what were you saying? Just so I understand. He's like, yeah, I was talking to myself to not throw the ball at the person. And I was like, I thought he was yelling at me.
Yeah.
But then I noticed he yells at himself a lot. So, but if I assumed that he was talking to me,
Oh, it would've totally
now,
changed the
it would have
dynamic.
totally changed my game and how I
Mhm.
was seeing him and treating him. So I have that rule.
Yeah.
If I'm not sure, I ask because I don't want to assume.
Right.
And then the last one is always do your best.
yeah.
If you've done your best, it's okay.
That's it,
Even
yeah.
if the result wasn't what you expected, if you know you gave your best, you gave everything and you did everything you could, it's okay.
Yeah.
So so read the
Interesting.
book. It's good.
Okay. I will read or listen. Barbara, thank you for spending time with me
Aw,
today
Thank
behind
you.
a microphone, making this
Yeah.
official.
I hit it so many times.
I know. My
I
hands.
said I talk with my hands.
There
The
you go.
Italian in us.
That's right. Very expressive.
Yeah.
Tell us your social media accounts and your website, which we'll also link in show notes, but so people can keep track of what you're doing.
The Instagram is the Feminine Freedom, and same with the website.
TheFeminineFreedom.com.
TheFeminineFreedom.com. Yes.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you so
I
much.
promise I'll post more. and
Yeah.
And
Well,
make
and-
the website cuter.
No, it's good. Hey, it's what you're doing that matters
Mhm.
the most. And I will link all that in show notes, guys. But if you're, I don't know, in any of the areas where there's a workshop happening, definitely try to check it out. I really feel like no matter what phase or stage of whatever archetype you're living at the moment, phase of life you're in, it's really helpful. So I'll link everything in show notes. But thank you guys for being with us on video or in your ear for this episode of We Gotta Talk, and we'll see you next week with some more good stuff. Bye.
Bye.